Now then, where was I? The children that were scattered about the floor of the common room looked attentively at the old man, waiting for a tale of faraway lands and heroic exploits. Miss Turnbuckle, are you listening? Oh, I am. Waterdeep. You were at Waterdeep. I suppose we were at the beginning then. The Underdark, the Grove, the sea, the palace, and the gutter, they all converged right there.
Have you ever seen so many different kinds of people in such a big place? How hard can it be to find somebody that knows where Tailwind is?
You're a miracle, boy.
I shake my head and quietly to myself say, there's no such thing as miracles. And I start walking up the surface.
I'll tell you what. I'll give you a running start. I'll count to 30. 1, 2.
30, and then I'm gonna run at him and attack him.
Fair's fair. You told me your history. I was born on that boat. Huh? That ship that your friend is dissecting.
I absolutely hate how chipper you always are.
And it'd be a good look on you, though.
If it's a riddle, I want to solve it. If it's a lock, I want to open it.
How do I make this quick? I'm a holy woman, and I'm looking for things that were taken from me and my people.
Wait, as
I am a no math gay and I stand by it.
As I hit the record button because we need to update people on the chronicles of your Starbucks orders.
My Starbucks order showed up and I have ordered double of everything. Of my full day's worth of Starbucks that I get every game day, I have 2.
Yes!
That's
I have 4 different coffees, 2 sandwiches.
A grand feast. Okay, while we listen to the music, everybody say one sentence about what your character is doing last time we were here.
Yeah, we were doing a heist for the mysterious box. We ended up fighting this weird red slime creature.
Yes, we did.
Bretta Bright Gleam ate shit.
Ate shit. Got grabbed by a demon.
Bretta Brightgleam was eaten by shit.
Oh.
Was she? I thought she fell into the spikes.
No, like the red ooze like shot out from the pit that the spikes were in and just grabbed her and pulled her.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
If it didn't eat her, it impaled her at minimum.
Right, it dragged
That's
her down.
a rough
she's
way to
probably, go. She's probably not doing great.
Yeah, but now we're doing a grand escape from the grasping eye.
Right.
Yeah, we really goofed it.
But we got the mysterious box.
We have the box that they told us under no circumstances could we open.
Mm-hmm.
June is freaking out and fighting some dudes because her band of people just started a gosh darn fight.
Elerie's dead.
I don't know if that's true.
Actually, yeah.
Oh wait, yeah, no, it is.
Not a joke. It's not a joke. Larry's dead.
Straight up got caught.
Forgot about that.
The last thing I remember, I was just, disclaimer, this next line might not be suitable for everybody, but I think I was just like massacring somebody with like my axes in their head body.
I mean, you do that once an episode now.
Once an episode, yeah.
Yeah, you're
Flavor
a resident
saver.
axe murderer.
Rather than deal with a mage, Cal threw himself into the sea and was rescued by his new cranky line on.
Right, everyone's waifu came in and saved Calder.
Yeah.
Awesome.
The only character that
It
matters.
was a real gamble there, but it paid off. It was a
Our
bold
punk rock mermaid waifu.
Oh my god, I love her so much.
I love her.
I just want to stare at her tattoos, sunsets.
I'm not gonna lie, a little heartbroken we haven't gotten fan art of her yet. So if you've been looking for an excuse to draw Filthy Meg, please, it will.
Bonus points to whoever makes like romance novel art of Calder and Filthy Meg.
I just want like an obscenely muscled Filthy Meg carrying Cal like a princess.
Does Calder have a useless twink energy?
Yes, that's.
You can buy those shirts to support us. Thank you.
You can buy them online, and they come in multiple flavors: useless twink, useless himbo, useless gay, useless pan, anywhere on the rainbow, except for the straights. You guys get everything.
No, I'm gonna buy the fembo one. We have one too.
We love our friends.
I love you so much, and that sounds so beautiful. Would you do me a solid and mute your mic, though? Thank you, my love.
I thought it was. Half the time I think it is.
That's what I figured too, but I didn't want to stop you.
Oh shit.
So I'm going to turn this up just a little bit. So I would ask that you all center yourselves and find a meditative moment. As we start this, I would just remind all of you to find a center for your characters. Think about your characters. Think about where they've been. Focus on the backstory of this as well, because I might have some of you slipping back and forth between sections. And we're going to just go ahead and start. So I'm going to give us a couple of minutes of meditative music and focus, and then I'll start with our introduction. The ragged old crow landed on the broken stone, sitting in the center of the cul-de-sac. The two roads in the middle of the southern ward had been well packed by the ongoing traffic of the day. Carriages, horses, and merchant carts were pulled back and forth. It was a regular occurrence. And as the sun rose and set, this section of Waterdeep was always bustling with the mercantile goods of 1,000 different nations, pooling together, having been pulled across the Sword Coast and brought here. It was the gateway to the rest of Faerun, a place where anything could be found if you searched long enough and hard enough. These roads and this ward of Waterdeep was downtrodden. It didn't have the same gloss and shine that other sections of the city did. The nobility found very little use for it outside of what the merchants provided, and as a place for those who were from the outside. Many call the southern ward of Waterdeep home. It is a ragged collection of vagabonds and wanderers that have planted root in one of the greatest cities in all of the world of Abir Terrell. It stretches on, the walls shining above it, and enormous statues standing sentinel against the attacks of magical forces and armies that have in the past threatened this place. The city itself was so massive that it functioned on a number of very carefully laid laws. The Code Legal, which bound civility to this place and ensured that chaos would not rule the day. It allowed prosperity, some means of peace. And all of it was overseen by a collection of leadership known as the Masked Lords. Those who hid their face did so for good reason. Anyone who was known to be a member of this selective group immediately put themselves and all that they love in danger. And so a veil of secrecy was risen to protect those who would serve this great city and to continue the prosperity that had blossomed within this place. But for as great and grand as Waterdeep was, something much older lingers here, where the humans and their allies have erected great statues and buildings and towers and walls, where a vast, long, stretching dock had been brought into the sea so that all of the goods and services of all of these nations might be gathered together. Something lie beneath it all. A forgotten memory. One long shielded. Something of power. Down these well-packed, well-worn streets of the southern ward, an old crow lands on a broken bit of stone. It cries out, and along the broken buttress of a building that had collapsed, in a cul-de-sac, tucked away from the rest of the bustle of the city, an old, very ragged building stood. The shingles had been worn away with time, and the beams had been exposed. Large sections of stone and wood had been ground away by time's relentless march. An old well stood in the center of the cul-de-sac, and it was a deep, dark, black, empty pit, the stones of which that had stood around its diameter had long ago worn away, making it little more than a very dangerous hole. Weeds grew rampant across the field that was in this cul-de-sac, and an old stable lie rotting. The roof collapsed, sagging from the weight of old moss. A number of figures stood there as the crows and ravens continued their ceaseless squawking. This place had been fully abandoned. It had no owners. And in the building that used to be a tavern, there was no merriment. It had no visitors. No hearths held fires. It was the skeletal remains of something that was. An empty shadow. A ghost. This old tavern once had a placard sign that hung above the door. But long ago, the steel brackets that had held it in place had rusted away. And now that shingle lie on the ground, half buried in mud, grown across by wild vines and dead shards of grass. Figures stood there in that cul-de-sac at that time, like explorers, discovering the ruins of a lost civilization. They stood there. A number of figures were scattered out. There was a large, ponderous creature slowly poking about the ruined stables. The humanoid form was what many within the realms called a tortle. A tortoise humanoid from a faraway land. And as he moved about, poking around, his large, deep blue, glassy, watery eyes slowly sought out all of the remains of this place, taking them in slowly. A woman stood with an old bastard sword on her back, a large pack at her feet, her hair pulled back into a tight bun. She was young and strong, and she had a look of a determination across her face as she looked upon the ruins of this forgotten place. A stout, broad figure walked across the cul-de-sac, across the field and towards that broken sign. Large, muscular hands, covered in grime and dirt, brushed away the vines that had grown over the shingle of the old tavern. Britta Brightgleam looked back at Tamara. The symbol and the words were still visible there on the shingle. A circle with a number of triangular pieces etched into it, like a star. The old and faded lettering still visible in the common tongue. The 7 shards. A small figure walks up next to Britta. Multicolored patchwork cloak wrapped close around them. Phineas places a hand upon Britta's shoulder. Britta looks back, away from Tamara, and to Phineas. Are you sure this is the place? Seems like quite a mess. I don't think we're going to be able to do much with it. This is it. This is the place. What do you think? Tamara raises an eyebrow and looks over to the small, blonde-headed halfling, his young face beaming with a broad smile. Phineas was always smiling. It'll do. Tamara walks over, puts her hand upon the broken-down old tavern, closes her eyes, and remembers everything that has come before. Britta looks back to Phineas. Well, if this is it, you can count on me to help you out. However, I'm not going to be hanging my sword up. All of you can quit adventuring if you like, but this old dwarf, she's got plenty left in her, and I am not going to say it's all done. I wouldn't worry about that, Britta. You have at least one great adventure left. Oh, you and your cryptic talk, I swear, you always got your eye off in the distance, looking at the future. What about the here and now? I could use an ale and a warm fire to kick my feet up on. Tamara looks back. We'll build that fire. And we'll name this place the Golden Owl. My brother may be gone, but his legacy can help others. And my sister, her strength will help us. You know, Britta, I've always got my feet planted right where they need to be. It's a skill of mine. But you're right. I've always got my eyes on the horizon. And what I see coming, you wouldn't believe. As you run down the corridor in the dank of that sewer passage, stone surrounding you on all sides, the shouts and arrows of the grasping eye behind you, Doddle, Hawke, Maglo, and Siraye. You turn back just as Britta leaps across that horrid pit filled with spikes, and a red translucent tendril of ooze strikes out from the depth, wrapping itself around her as her eyes meet yours, and she is pulled beneath, gone. Doddle, you've begun to open the door as it slowly has ascended, stone grinding against stone. You and your companions are able to escape, but the arrows fly all around you. The grasping eye has been alerted to your presence. Hawke, you and Siraye are carrying a very heavy chest. It is locked, and you are uncertain as to what you have taken from this place, but it seems to be of great value. Within your pack, Siraye, the enameled box is now in your possession. You have accomplished what Fiddle Scratch has sent you down here to do. But there has been a great cost. Everyone is on the other side of the pit. You've all made your way over it. Bretta did not. You're at the doorway that leads back into the sewer.
She's gone. We need to get back to the golden owl.
As soon as possible. And I'm gonna, as you're having your moment, Siraye is like pulling on the other side of the box to get you to go. Come on. We have to go. Like you said.
Yeah. There's a lot of them coming, lads.
Yeah.
We gotta get moving.
Can I look to the bottom of the pit in disbelief?
You would have to make your way 40 feet down this passageway towards where the grasping eye are.
I would. There's a chance we could save her. I want to take
No,
it.
she's dead. We gotta go. And then Maglo fires a shot down the hallway at the grasping eye that are running after them.
Yeah.
I'd try and go check anyway. Somebody can try and grab me if you want. You know, that'd be great in the long run of things.
Yeah, Maglo's like, look! Doddle, look at me. They are trying to kill you. And then Maglo like pushes Doddle out of the doorway as an arrow like flies between them like, we've got to go.
Okay. And then I'm gonna run.
Like, if you want to help, I'm gonna need your spells. And then Maglo loads another shot and then fires it down.
Oh no.
She's gonna tear up and then she's gonna run. Momo's actually tearing up a little bit.
I'm sorry to say that I've rolled a few of these arrow shots as you're trying to escape through the doorway. And most of them have been less than exceptional and have missed. However, Hawke, I have hit you with a natural 20.
Oh.
Ooh.
Wow.
Oh.
Let's
Hit
go.
me with it. Hit me with it.
I wasn't done.
Oh, did you roll 2 20s?
I confirmed it with another natural 20.
Oh no!
However, the third was not a natural
Thank
20.
God, it's the older than new.
Oh, so close. All right, yeah. What? I'm excited. What happens?
You take 12 points of damage as an arrow embeds itself directly at the base of your spine on your back, hitting between your armor. And you nearly collapse as you are rushing forward. The chest that you are carrying drops on your end as you just inadvertently grab your back and howl in pain as you feel the hot, stinging pain of this arrow shaft piercing into your back.
Oh, is it like right in my spine?
It's right in your spine.
Oh,
And
can I am I having trouble walking now?
I need you to make a Constitution saving throw to see if you're able to move past the pain and walk. Otherwise, you're going to be fairly hampered in your escape.
Oh.
I am immediately stressed.
All right, let me pull this up so that we can see your roll.
Come on. Sorry, I shouldn't be yelling about it. What?
You got a natural 20 on your roll, so that is very good for you. Hawke, I need you to roll that again to see if you confirm it with another natural 20.
Oh.
That would be 2 natural 20s versus 2 natural 20s.
Oh my God.
This is going to be a session, I guess.
God.
This
hit by
is
an
like
arrow.
okay,
But
that's
did
a
he?
9. But still, oh gosh, that would have been amazing if it was 2. No, that's a 9.
Okay, so you didn't confirm, but you did get a natural 20. So I am going to say that though you are in immense pain and you are slowed, you are not in any way prevented from being able to move forward.
I just like grab it and I rip the arrow out from my back and I throw it on the ground.
Maglo freaks the fuck out. I was like, no, God, no.
You do feel all of that pain and blood is rushing down your back, but you do manage to steel yourself. Siraye, you feel Hawke slump behind you.
I'm gonna turn, look, and I'm just gonna keep pulling on the damn chest. I'm not gonna, if he's going down, I'm taking the chest. I'm not taking him.
You are pulling the chest, but it is very heavy, and you will have to encumber yourself greatly to be able to pull this out. You're very strong, so I do believe that you can do this, but it is going to be very, very difficult for you to do alone. Do you choose to carry it on your own, or are you going to...
No. I assume what's happening is Hawke still is in hold of the chest, but he fell. So like the chest, like his side hit the ground, and then I'm still pulling. I'm probably dragging him along with me. If he's not moving, I don't care.
Hey, are we in an initiative order?
Yeah, so you are in an old initiative order from last session. I can tell you exactly what those are. Siraye is going to be going at 22, Maglo goes at 20, Doddle, you go at 20 as well, and Hawke, you go at 1.
Oh.
Which now makes all the more sense, right?
Yeah.
So hearing what Siraye is doing, let's go to Maglo and Doddle. What would you two like to do?
Maglo, why don't you go first?
Maglo, upon seeing Hawke get shot with an arrow and then pull it out, field medic training jumps into him, and he's like, "Oh my god, no!" And he's gonna run over and pull out a small, what looks like kind of a putty that he puts some different leaves and herbs in, and as he's mashing it up, it's like changing color and it starts fizzing.
Arrows are flying around you as this is happening, and you hear shouts, and there are a number of the Grasping Eye that have made their way across the pit and are headed down this corridor. Busby is on red alert. Quite literally, the color of the gem that insets in the center of your automaton has turned red, is blinking, and you hear...
Doddle, I'm going to need you to fly some spells down there. Busby, help her with that. Hawke, next time you get hit with an arrow, don't pull it out. Wait for me to come and help you. And then he's going to shove the putty into, like, the wound on his back, which I imagine can he get to that? Or is it a thing that he's going to need?
The armor makes it difficult, but you do manage to make it through. I will allow you to make a medicine check. I know you're doing a spell, but if we'll see if we can like add you a little assistance to that by you making a skill roll.
20.
Yeah, so you actually are able to maneuver around the armor very easily. Go ahead and do whatever you'd like.
Does Maglo see like the skin underneath and everything?
Yes, I would assume.
Oh yeah, in that case, you see a lot of surgical scarring back there, buddy.
I'm not going to comment on that yet. I'll log that away. And he's gonna Maglo like puts the putty into the wound, and it like fizzes and festers, but heals quite quick. And I cast Cure Wounds. Cure Wounds. That was a lot of guff for saying I'm just gonna cast Cure Wounds.
Yeah, but I love the description, so thank you for that.
That is 10. 10 healing, which is almost all of it.
So you almost healed all of the wound. It does close up. The bleeding stops. You're still in pain, Hawke, but you are able to work past it.
We are in the hallway with traps that had the traps. Correct?
You are in the hallway. You're moving into the sewer structures that have the traps. Yes.
Okay. Can Maglo, after he shoves the thing in, do a real quick cursory glance around to see if he spots any trap things, anything that they're going to need to avoid? Are they like, is he going to have to make a defense barrier?
You can't do it this round. I think that we've already given you a skill check, and you've already done a spell.
Way too much sense.
So
that's fine. Yeah, that's good.
Doddle, what are you doing? You've heard all of this happening. Maglo is assisting Hawke, and Siraye seems to be very intent on getting this chest out of the way.
Well, that depends. How many people are on the other side, and how many people are on the side closest to us in regards to the pit?
2 of them have made their way across the pit, and 8 of them are currently either firing arrows or preparing to make their way across the pit.
Perfect. As I've said, I've been playing a lot of Baldur's Gate, and it's the coolest shit when someone actually says a thing, and then things happen, so I've started Googling Elvish words for things. So Doddle is going to outstretch her hand and say Hislania, which is the Elvish word for fog, and I'd like to cast Fog Cloud over top of the pit and around the 8 people.
All right. So as you do so, first of all, I'll give you an inspiration for the Elvish lore, and I would I'd like for you to tell me exactly where you're going to center that. It's 20 feet, is that correct?
Really hoping that all the people are not gonna see the pit and just go do. Ah! So like, I'd like to cover the pit and also cover the people about to walk towards the pit.
Okay, so yeah, the fog immediately begins to erupt around that area as you stretch your goblinoid hands out, and it does begin to become very difficult to see past it. The arrows that were flying through do stop, so the arrows are no longer shooting at you.
Really?
You still hear shouts.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, they can't see through it, so they're not going to try to fire. They might hit each other. So you've stopped the arrow fire. You do hear shouts, and you do hear kind of like careful clamoring around stone. You think that you've slowed them down enough for you and your companions to get away.
Hell
Now,
yeah.
Yeah, so finally, Hawke, this pain is striking across your back. What do you do? Do you help Siraye with the treasure chest? Do you do something else?
Yeah, I pick myself up and I'm gonna help move with the treasure chest, and I turn backwards towards the grasping eye, and I'm going to fire 2 bolts of Eldritch Blast angrily back at them.
All right. So yes, you shoot backwards. You can go ahead and roll. You do have a disadvantage because the wall of fog is concealing them.
Right. So this is like complete blind fire then. I shoot them hopefully at what I think is one target at least to try and like get them down. So that is, the first one is 16 to hit.
All right.
With 8 points of damage. And then the second bolt is going to be 1, 2. That's a 9 for the second one.
So the first bolt that you shoot out, there's a shriek of ravens as you hold your hand out, and this dark purplish black energy just erupts into the cloud of fog that Doddle has erected here. And inside of it, there's like a spark, like there's lightning inside of a storm cloud. And you hear someone scream, and you hear someone falling into a pit. The second bolt, as you shoot it out, it seems to strike stone on the far wall beyond.
All right, and then like with my free action, I'm just gonna shout, "Just get to the door, everybody! We need to get to the door."
Most of you are standing at the threshold now as you try to push yourself through, but nobody's really crossed that threshold yet.
Is it too late to say I use my movement to also run towards the door?
You can run through the door if you want.
I would like to do that, please.
Okay, so Doddle has already made their way through the door and is now on the other side. The rest of you are making your way as well. Yeah, so everyone can use their movement. I just need to know, Hawke, are you also shouldering the weight of the treasure chest or not?
I am, yeah.
Okay, so all of you make it through. Hawke and Siraye are considerably slowed in all this, but all of you are through the door. And then it becomes the end of the round. And at the end of the round, you do see figures emerging from the fog. And it seems like the large number of those thugs have made their way across and are now repositioning themselves to start to fire at you again. Some of them have short bows and some of them have crossbows. So arrows and bolts are now beginning to fly through the air again, as other individuals with axes and long swords are making their way closer to you. One of them has a fairly large shield that they're holding up in front, and the others are behind. And you hear a lot of gruff shouts as you quickly make your way away from them. Now, at the top of the round, Siraye, what do all of you do? Is there anything that you want to do as you're leaving this complex?
I'm just trying to get the hell out of there as fast as possible. So I want to use my movement and my action to just get out of there. And I will drag Hawke if I have to.
Okay, so you and Hawke are going to be both moving at 1.
Okay.
So since you are tethered together by this treasure chest, your initiative is going to drop all the way down. Doddle and Maglo, what are you doing as you leave the doorway?
Can I cast a spell?
You may, yes.
Sweet.
As long as you have slots or a cantrip that works.
I got slots. How many people are on the other side of the pit now?
Well, it's hard to tell. Some of them are still in the fog, but 8 of them seem to have emerged.
Ew.
and are on the other side of your fog cloud.
Rude.
Doddle, what you planning?
She doesn't do that.
I sort of wish she would, but
I love you. Okay, so
No.
I'm gonna. Do I need anything besides a drop of water? Right. Okay, so she was crying because Greta ate shit. And she's gonna take her tears and say Ned, which is the Elvish word for water, apparently. And I'd like to push my hands, and I'd like to cast Tidal Wave in the hopes that I can push them all into the pit.
all right. So
With the water.
They're gonna get a dexterity saving throw against your spell.
Well, that's gonna buy us some time.
Maglo.
All right. So I've rolled for pairs of them, and a number of them really do latch onto the walls. You can't see what's happening, but there's an enormous swell of water that kind of erupts from this tier that you fling forward, and all of this water from behind you, moving around you, shoots down this corridor as your opponents are blasted with this heavy gush of wave that cycles down and begins pushing them backwards. Clearly, you see the shapes that are fighting. When the tidal wave subsides, there are a number of wet and scattered thugs that are sprawled out all across the floor. You only count 6 of them that are outside of the fog cloud. The others are not present or in your line of sight, and you're not sure what has happened. So are you continuing to use your movement to run at that point?
Yes, please.
Okay, Maglo, what are you doing?
Oi, that works. Loads. He grabs like a really very quite a large cartridge full of this super thick liquid that he loads in, and then pulls out a small vial and Doddle, you know fire stuff, right?
Yes.
I am gonna chuck a puddle of grease. Can you set it on fire?
I could. Maglo, you are so intelligent and that's such a great idea. I have made the entire hallway wet. Is that going to put a damper on your plans?
No, that's how chip pan fires are made.
Oh, hell yeah! Toss that shit!
He loads the cartridge into the gun and gonna cast grease on just before where the huge tidal wave is, so the grease can spread out in the hopes that Doddle lights it on fire next turn.
All right, Hawke and Siraye, it is now your turn. Would you choose to continue to just run? Are you doing a dash, or?
I would like to dash if I can.
That depends on Hawke.
Yeah, I don't want to leave them behind.
We're fine!
Oi, we're fine, keep going.
Yeah, I'm gonna turn around and I'm gonna Eldritch Blast down the hallway again.
Okay, so you're not doing a dash. You both can move normally. That means, Siraye, that you can do something as well. It does slow you down. An Eldritch Blast shoots down the hallway. You can make 2 rolls. These are not at a disadvantage because you can see a few figures that are stumbling up.
All right, so the first one is a 15 to hit.
Mm-hmm.
And the second one's an 18 to hit, 19 points of damage overall.
Okay, so the first blast that you shoot out is buffeted by the individual with the shield, and it kind of just gets absorbed by the shield, but the shield is charred from the arcane energies that are blasted across it. The second hit, however, blows through the shield, rendering it useless as the shield crumples and breaks underneath the attack, knocking this individual back. They are on the ground trying to pull themselves up. They look like they have been wounded fairly severely by your Eldritch Blast, meaning that the rest of those who were in that area no longer have that shieldsman to be able to defend them. So they are now more exposed than they were. Siraye, is there anything that you want to do since you now have an action? You're not able to dash. You cannot do that while you're tethered to Hawke.
Siraye's gonna groan. And then I only have darts, and I don't think my darts have enough range. I'm pretty sure they don't.
You're probably too far away to use
Yeah,
darts.
so I'm just gonna I'm gonna inspect the area and make sure that there's nothing, like the door is gonna stay open. There's nothing that's gonna slow us down ahead of us.
Make a sleight of hand check with an advantage because you've come this way before.
Okay. 17?
Yes. So you recall having made your way through here before that there are a number of traps that are inlaid within the sewer structure that is around this safe house, namely those spears that were inset into the ground and a number of traps that you and Bretta were able to subvert when you first came through. If you traipse through all of this corridor, it could very well trigger off those additional traps. So as fast as you want to go, you know that there's a lot of danger here.
Right.
It comes into your because you're thinking about the door and about making sure that the door is open and everything.
Mm-hmm.
It does occur to you in your roguish mind that that door is very solid stone and currently it is open.
Okay. I'm gonna yell then. We need to get behind the door.
Yep. Yeah.
So go!
I'm going.
Okay, so everybody's rushing down the corridor. You're all charging. You're Doddle. You're waist deep in sewage, and everyone else, the deep, thick, black, kind of putrid water is splashing around you as you are pushing your way down these corridors, no longer trying to carefully move along these stone walkways that are on either side. It's far too precarious and too slow. So you're just rushing through these corridors as Siraye is keeping a sharp eye on where all the traps are. Arrows are flying from behind you, and you feel your enemies pressing up against you as they shout for you to halt, to stop where you are. And you continue to run, hoping to escape with the treasures that you have stolen. Elerie. You are deep underwater. It rushes around you. It is dark and cold, and you hear the silent thrumming of the deepest places of the sea. It is not evil, nor is it good. It is a neutrality of nature that is wrapped around you like a thick woolen blanket, muffling almost everything around you. Your eyes throw themselves open, and while you are very much able to hold your breath far longer than most who walk the dry worlds of Abir Terrell, due to your mother's heritage that has been passed down to you, you still feel the acceptance of this sense of drowning deep beneath the waves. They lap back across you as you float weightlessly in this dark and empty space, and in all of this, there is a faint, dull light above you, and you struggle and begin pushing yourself towards the surface, hoping that you are swimming in the right direction as you feel your lungs pressed up against your chest, bursting as they seek some last gasp of air. I would like for you to make an athletics check at a disadvantage, please. A 20 is very good. It is at a disadvantage, however, so I do need you to roll twice. You are also muted, my friend. That's a natural 20. So you either have the dirty 20 or the natural 20 that we will choose from. I would kindly appreciate it if you would stop showing off. So yeah, you do manage to pull yourself up. You're struggling through this thick, cold water, and you very quickly dart to the surface, and you feel your lungs immediately filled with clean, crisp sea air as you burst forth from the surface, and you are floating off the shore of an island. There is a familiarity to it, and it takes a moment, but you realize that it is the same island that your father and your mother raised you upon.
Oh, I start making laps. I start just like hauling
You
to the
swim-
shoreline.
You swim vigorously to the shore, pulling yourself out, water dripping off of you in droves as you step onto the wet sand, and you feel the warmth of the sun behind you, and you feel the breeze working its way across your wet skin. You are wearing everything that you were wearing just a moment ago, but your mind is clouded, and you know that something horrible has just happened, but you don't recall what. You have a sense of impending dread and this pressing feel of something important that has been forgotten continues to haunt you. And you're standing on this shore, and you look down at yourself again, and you are no longer wearing the clothes that you were wearing, and you are no longer the height that you were just a moment ago. You are now that young girl, barefoot, standing on the shore, watching the horizon and wondering where your mother has gone. You feel a hand on your shoulder, and you look up and you see the kind, aged face of your father, the old sailor who had given up the sea for love. What do you see out there, Elerie?
Nothing, Dad. Just the sunset.
And what are you looking for?
I'm just looking for what's next. Like, what are we gonna do?
The man turns you so that he is looking directly into your eyes, pulling you away from the horizon. You're my child. You can do anything. And no one is able to tell you otherwise. Anything that you do, I will be there. The moment fades as your father's face dissolves into a thin mist in front of you, and the island shudders as it is now nighttime in the blink of an eye. Somewhere in the distance, there is an empty sense of dread. You see your breath plume around you. Ravens in the distance on a deserted isle. You are as you were when you first emerged from the waves now, Elerie, and you are cold again. And where your father was standing, another figure appears. It is a shadowy form, humanoid. Hard to see the features of this deep black void that stands in front of you. There you are. I thought you might be lost. But no. You're still here.
Still here? What do you mean? I just got here. Like, a party or something?
Of a sort. Come with me, please. And this shadowy dark figure turns and starts walking into the tree line off of this beach that is now very dark and shadowed. Everything around you has a gray cast to it and seems much emptier than it was just a moment ago.
Elerie just takes like a deep breath and swallows whatever nightmare is going on in her head and just moves forward.
As you do, you walk into the tree line, and the palm trees that are shuffled here immediately dissolve into a stone corridor. And this shadowy figure begins to shape itself, and it's clearly robes, and the individual is holding something in front of them, and immediately it sparks to life with a flickering green flame. As that green light begins to wash across this dull gray stonework, you see another figure. She is tall and very delicate looking. There is a shadowy grayness to all of her appearance, but she has much more form here than this other shape. Almost as if she is translucent, you can see the stone beyond her. A beautiful and delicate woman with a pair of very piercing white blue eyes. She looks to you. She has a fur-lined cloak upon her, and she is also carrying one of these torches that ignites, and this green flame begins flickering as this darker shadow passes by her. She looks at you sadly, nods, and then begins walking as well as the two figures move in front of you. Do you continue on, Elerie?
I guess they think I'm going to be playing tonight. Sure, yeah, let's go on.
You continue to walk, and these corridors seem to stretch like a maze, turning and twisting. You quickly lose way as corridor leads upon corridor, and you follow those flickering green flames. Every once and again, the delicate female form turns and looks at you, and then turns and looks back. Eventually, you start hearing other footsteps around you, and they seem to be close behind you. Boots, the heels of clicking against stone. 4, maybe 5 individuals. Do you turn around or do you keep walking?
Can I just say to the people, I'm going to continue forward, but I'm just going to say to the people I'm walking with, you all expecting a big crowd tonight?
The shadowy form, this wraith, turns and regards you as they continue to walk. Your spirit is strong. You have many that are traveling with you. You are never alone.
I've felt alone quite a many times. This is just for tonight. For tonight, we're just gonna play some music. Is that what's happening?
Yes, music. You are gifted. Your talents will come in handy, won't they?
No, I wouldn't say gifted, but I know how to play a tune or two.
Come along. Eventually, the corridors end in a set of large double doors. The shadowy figure, as you've continued down them, has slowly become more and more solidified. Now you see some features, and it feels as if the form is taking something more tangible, less ghost-like. You see an old man, frail and thin, wearing a fur cloak, a balding head with long white hair that strings down around him. And he looks back. Are you ready, my dear?
You know what they say about me? I was born on a green banner. It does mean I'm ready to go, though. Do you have any song requests?
Your time to sing will come. Besmit, open the door. The beautiful, frail spirit turns and places their hand upon the door. They swing open into a room, and a gush of old air that smells heavily of the dead and ancient crypts fills the air around you. Torches light on sconces in the center of a circular stone corridor. And as that door opens, you see a shadowed figure moving about, the same figure that is standing in front of you. The old man, moving about a series of corpses laid upon tilted tables that all look inward into the stone circle. Herbs and a river of fluid and blood flow around the perimeter of this stone circle as a moat of blood greets you.
Now, I wasn't sure I was ready for this.
There are glyphs that are ignited with the same green glow as they work their way around pillars and the circle itself. You hear mumbling and chanting as the old man moves back and forth, injecting each of the corpses with strange fluids in large, sharp-looking vials that are connected to barbed needles. That is not what disturbs you, though. One of the corpses which this figure is working upon is you. Your throat has been slit and roughly stitched back together. And as you look to your side, you no longer see the spirit of that frail, beautiful woman, but a hideously twisted wretch. An amalgamation of strange parts that do not fit together. A large, watery, strange eye that looks quite dead as it works its way around. A face of contorted broadness with arms and limbs that do not fit or match. Cobbled together, this form seems to be, and wrapped in all of the ragged garb of a gravesdigger. She stands there and looks at you, and you realize it is the same figure, but now made flesh. Wordlessly, the figure turns and beckons you forward as the hallway behind you disappears. And standing there on the perimeter of this circle, as these words are spoken and this strange magic enacted, you see other spirits, other figures. One of them glares at you angrily. It is the face, blood-soaked, of Teetelbaum Moosenik. The spirit wavers there, casting hate silently with their eyes. Another spirit you do not recognize. Finely crafted elven armor. Gently, carefully built around a strong form, standing with a long, delicate sword at the ready. You cannot see or clearly make out the face, but there is a flowing fall of gentle hair, soft and lavender. All of the spirits waver and shudder in the circle as it is clearly some dark secret that is being drawn upon here. And you feel yourself fading as the twisted form of Besmit beckons you forward. And the chanting rings in your ears and everything drops away, and you do everything you can, Elerie, to grasp onto the memory of that warm beach. Even the water that you had found yourself drowning in was less discomforting than this place. What do you do?
It is starting to feel very clear what kind of situation we're in now, and I don't think I'll be playing for a crowd. So Elerie is going to stiffen up a little bit, like put her shoulders back and really just kind of march forward and take this person's hand and follow the instructions.
The chanting grows. You are carefully seated on this stone platform. You place one foot upon it and then another, and you are being pressed down into the corpse of your former self as other spirits begin to dissolve around you. Each spirit screaming in agony as they are pulled apart.
Inashra Nithernai Anochanoch Nithernai Ishanaka.
Everything around you shudders. And your eyes slowly flit open. Pain. Your neck. You feel that. Calder. There's a gentle rocking of the Krakens Kiss. You have been at sea now for many months. There has been no shortage of spoils found. Next to you is a worn mop and a well-used bucket full of water and sudsy soap that has only partially been used to swab this section of the deck. You are sitting comfortably in a little nook underneath one of the staircases that leads up to the section that works its way around the captain's quarters. It is where you sleep. It is what you consider a home. It is not particularly comfortable, but it is the only part of the ship that no one bothers you. Well, almost no one bothers you. You have a old journal that you found on a raiding party, and part of it is filled with very boring notes on nautical adventures that are far less bloody than those that you and your brother have undertaken. Having been raised here on the Krakens Kiss, you have spent much of your life in piracy. Thankfully, those who surround you have been kind enough, and you have been fed. The captain here, Balthazar Graves, is well respected and feared. He is a powerful individual who has often shown his strength to others through acts of immediate and swift violence. Anyone within the Krakens Kiss who breathes even the thought of mutiny has found themselves very quickly relieved of their lives. The thing that you remember most about Balthazar Graves is the captain's eyes, always strangely alight with a golden yellow hue. They seem to breathe like a jungle creature, and he would always work his way across the deck with those bright yellow eyes, surveying the ship that has been greatly feared on the Sword Coast, the Sea of Swords, the Reckless Sea, and all the way across, the Moonshae Isles have known the fear of the Krakens Kiss, and all the way to the north, even into Icewind Dale, tales have been told of the sails that run red. and the fear that comes with them. You are not known as Calder here. The only one who really knows that name doesn't call you it. Here, you are called Squig, and you are left to do the work that very few others would dare to do. You scrub, and you empty chamber pots, and you work in the kitchens, peeling potatoes, and doing what must be done to see that you live another day. For the only reward that you ever receive is a meal twice a day, a cup or two of wine, sometimes whiskey, and your life. Every day you wake up, uncertain as to whether or not this will be the end for you. And while you have stagnated here, Squig, your brother has flourished. Quick to learn and quick to forget, Dorian Grail is now a bosun upon this ship, carrying the authority and weight of somebody very young for the position. But the captain has seen great potential and has rewarded it. And you have watched as your brother has slit throats of individuals that he once called friend at the word of the captain. The rest of the crew moves their way back and forth on the deck of this galleon, and you sit here with this old journal in front of you, half of it filled with nautical boredom, the other half filled with your drawings. And as you sit there scratching away with a piece of charcoal, 2 pages lie before you. As you etch upon them, the siren's call. Every detail of that ship that you can remember pressed onto these parchment pages. Oi there.
Cal shuts the book.
What are you doing?
Just looking over some loot that we got. Just nothing really. Boring.
Anything that maybe the captain needs to see? Your brother Dorian stands in front of you, highly polished boots and that coat that he's so proud of.
Absolutely not. Nothing that would interest him. Boring captain's log stuff, maybe, at best.
All right. Fine, then. You've been quiet. Why?
Boring is a little nice for me.
All right. Well, the captain's out of wine. You know how he gets.
His eyes go wide. Yes, I do.
So, why don't you make your way below deck, and instead of lollygagging around here, making yourself useful so that I don't have to carry you any further?
Cal runs his hands through his hair, yeah. He just doesn't make eye contact with his brother, and he just goes off to it.
You pass by your older brother as you slink your way over to the staircase that leads below deck. Inside of the galley, you make your way down to where the kitchens are held, and there is a very huge half-orc with a brilliant mohawk that has been tied back, tusk that kind of juts out at one side, and a network of pockmarks as if a rifle or perhaps a musket had blown up in the wrong spot right next to their cheek.
Oi there, boy.
Hey, captain's out of wine.
I don't have.
Code black.
Yeah, I don't know that I have the storehouses to keep the captain afloat, as it were, for such a long time.
This half-orc is known as Morehouse, and you hear the clatter of a peg leg as he works his way across the kitchen over towards a locked cabinet. Pulling these large skeletal keys off of his belt, he works his way through and opens up a one of the locks and draws the cupboard open, pulling forth a large black glass bottle with a cork in it.
The captain's best here. All right, lad. He'll have his cups and just don't. I like you enough, lad, to not want to see you dead. Just don't look him in the eye this time, right?
Kind of hard to avoid. I'm doing my best.
Oh, rest in peace, young lad.
He goes back
Same to you.
chopping some rotten-looking vegetables as you work your way back upstairs and towards the captain's quarters.
On the way out, I would like for him to say, "If I'm not dead in the morning, I'll see you for breakfast."
Having dry sausage.
And you make your way up and out back to the top of the ship itself, walking towards the captain's quarters. Everyone, as they see this bottle, starts to stop what they were doing. Sailors halt their work. Ropes that were being spooled and the sails and canvas that were being repatched, all of the work for a moment stops as you make what has often been a funereal march for any of the young members of the crew who have made a misstep during this crucial moment of delivering wine to the captain. Some more religious sailors make various signs of their gods. Others mumble to themselves. Some are smirking, eager to see the bloodshed. You walk your way across the deck of the ship and eventually make yourself known at a pair of dark ebony doors, finely carved with wavy glass that has been inset into a number of panes in front of it.
He knocks gently. "Sir, your wine."
Nothing for a long, silent moment. And then the creak of the floorboards, groaning as something approaches. From the other side of the glass, you see a shadowy silhouette. And through all of it, a pair of bright yellow eyes that appear at the door as it creaks slowly open.
Cal kind of lets his hair fall in his face a little bit, so should he accidentally catch his eye, it might be kind of hidden. It was your best from the galley, sir.
I want you to roll a persuasion check.
Butts.
It's a natural one.
Oh my god.
Oh no. Oh no.
You gotta roll a persuasion to give this guy booze, and we're probably gonna have to fight him at some point. I'm terrified.
Oh no.
All right. Okay, so we're doing this again.
Let's rock and roll, buckaroo.
It's a 9.
I think we've solidified that Calder should not continue to work in the service industry.
My best. Is that what you said, lad? My best.
My best, not your best. Your best, obviously, would be far better than what we have left.
What are you playing at?
Playing at. I'm
Little squig.
playing at wanting to wake up tomorrow in one piece, sir.
Lofty goals.
And you feel the bottle being lifted out of your hands as this enormous fist takes it from you, and the bottle leaves your person.
The smile on your face. It reminds me of something. Ah, yes. The look on your father's face when I slit your mother's throat.
The door slams in front of you.
Al just looks up where his face was a moment before and just stares at the door for a second. He kind of straightens up and he turns around and he's got a very dark and far away look on his face.
Juniper.
An F in the chat, fam.
I, Matthew Ekberg, will kill them. Not Maglo. I am personally angry at that.
Juniper, the alarms of the city watch surround the streets as the rain pours down around you. You are bloodied, wounded, and exhausted as you burst into the alleyway. Within your hands, the shield. Behind you, the members of the Zentarum, those careful allies that you have fought with all the way through the streets, against the gangs and against the city, to make your way here to this warehouse. You do not know what has happened to them, but there was a lot of blood. They were badly wounded and surrounded. The strong barbarian had shouted in rage, throwing 3 guardsmen across the warehouse into the crates. There was a sharp splintering noise as you managed to throw yourself through the doorway and into the street. They are behind you now, and there is the flickers of a fire that have started here. But most importantly, within your grasp, the icon of Sylvanas, very calmly and serenely, is looking at you. Its finely carved surface is strange and unlike anything that you have seen before, as if it had grown from one single piece of bark. Its rough surface is that of an elderly man with an intense but serene gaze. Lips tightly pursed, and a long beard that forms the bottom of the shield itself. All across it, there is a network of growth. Leaves, vines, and moss. And as the seasons change, so does your god's face, shifting between the cycles that bring life and death and renewal. Soaked in this alleyway, rain pouring across you in rivers, your hair unbound, blood soaking through your side, the blade wound burning you. The shield, in its calm, stalwart gaze, shifts ever so slightly, and the eyes open just a little wider as a soft green glow emanates across the shield, and you feel the wound at your side healing. What do you do?
As it's healing me, I'm gonna search for an alley to duck through.
The alarm bells continue, and in the distance you hear the shrieking sounds of the enormous griffin riders. And in the rainy sky, you see silhouettes across the skyline. There are roofs and buildings that have been stacked upon each other. You are in the dock ward. And this filthy alley is flooded with rainwater as you splash across cobblestone, seeking a place to hide. Do you wish to go further away or try to find something here?
Is the wound healed enough to be closed, or?
The wound, in the moment that it takes you to move across the wet cobblestone, is fully healed.
Oh yeah, then she's gonna keep running.
The pain is gone, and you feel that Sylvanus's blessing has been placed upon you.
Mm-hmm.
You are reunited with this sacred item. And though it has cost you a great deal, your allies within the Zentarum continue to fight behind you, allowing you to slip away into the night. Running through the streets, again you hear the cries of some great beasts above you as the bells continue to ring. Sailors are still working. They are moving through the streets, and all of them take note of you. This stranger, this white-garbed priestess who has burst into the streets, and as filthy and blood-soaked as you are in this moment, you are quite strange here. The shield itself seems to draw many eyes.
What all do the people look like around me? Like,
usually at this time of night, most of the work on the dock ceases. However, there are enough strange, somewhat dangerous-looking individuals that move about the dock ward at this time. While most of the warehouses have been shuttered for the evening, there are individuals that are lurking in corners. There are a few stray carts that are moving around, carrying whatever mercantile items need to be moved from place to place.
Mm-hmm.
Some transactions are happening in the corner as you see an individual handing a bag of coin over and another handing some paper-wrapped package to them to be carefully tucked inside of a cloak before they sneak away into the shadows. However, above, those silhouettes are getting closer, and in the distance, further down the street to your left, you do hear the clamor of horse hooves and armor.
How many other alleyways, like pathways, do I see?
You could run directly in front of you into another alleyway.
Mm-hmm.
You could continue to the south side of the street, which would lead you into those horses, or you could go the north side of the street, which seems to be vacant but is filled with many of these lingering figures.
All right, I'm gonna go to the one ahead of me and just book it.
You run across the street and into another dark alley. It becomes very, very hard to see here as the lamplight of the dock ward disappears. Do you do anything to allow yourself to see here?
Well, I only have... She's gonna cast light on her whip, just a dim light.
A faint divine glow emanates from your whip as you say another word of prayer, and the alleyway reveals itself to you. There are broken crates and boxes here, a midden heap, and a number of individuals that are either drunk or perhaps even dead, sprawled out onto the ground underneath very loose wooden overhangs that have been erected. They seem to be destitute individuals that have chosen this alleyway as their temporary home.
All right. Jeez, is there anyone here that's like hurt? Are they just drunk or dead?
Make a medicine check, yes.
Okay.
You can make a medicine check, and I'll tell you more if you're going to stop and pay a little more attention to those that are in the corners of these shadows. That is a natural 1.
Come on, buddy.
Go ahead and roll it again and see if you get a second natural 1. We're on fire today. No, you didn't confirm that with a second natural 1, but you did get that one natural 1. You have no idea, and it's really hard to tell because of the rain and your situation. You're harried. They could be dead, they could be alive, they could be hurt, they could be perfectly fine and drunk. It's just so hard to tell right now. If you wish to stop and study them, I'll allow you to remake that roll in 1 minute.
No. I think she's going to No, I think she's gonna look behind her to where the alleyway entrance was that she just entered, and
The street is full of armored horses now.
See, okay,
and you see the city watch dismounting, and a number of individuals poking through the streets. Torchlight flickers across the rough warehouses.
All right, nope. She's gonna look forward and go.
You continue down this alley, past the destitute forms that surround you, deep into the darkness of the dock ward. As you go further back, you see a series of structures that are stacked up upon each other, and it becomes a network of old, decrepit huts that have been lashed together. There are fish that are hung out to dry on a number of lines, and they are strung out before you. The whole area reeks of rotten fish and chum, as a number of buckets are in areas here to collect the entrails that are removed from cleaning fish, and they have been left here. And even in the wet rain, there are clouds of flies and maggots that are swarming over them as you go deeper and deeper into this very poorly maintained and wholly dangerous looking area within the dock ward. What are you looking for? A place to hide? Or are you looking to just get as far away from the scene of the crime as possible?
Hide. She's looking for a place to hide.
All right.
Specifically, though, she's looking for a place that's not a barrel of chum.
Hiding in a barrel of chum is ill-advised, as you are probably 10 feet away from them at this point, and you are barely able to contain the sickness that is rising in your throat by the sheer smell of the thing. Go ahead and make a survival check for me, please, June.
22.
Very good. You look around and you realize that this can help you. If they are using any sort of tracking creatures, the smell of this chum will most likely throw anything off of your scent. However, the rain is also helping you. So between the rain and the filth that is in these alleyways, you feel that you might have made a very good choice as to how best to hide from the forces that are seeking you. However, as you look about, you do notice that some of these buildings seem fully abandoned. And if you were to enter one of these huts, you might be able to find a small dry area that you could rest for a short period of time.
Yeah, she's gonna go investigate one of the huts and just see if it's actually vacant.
I will make a perception check for you. You got a natural 20. So go ahead and roll that again. And roll it. Just roll survival again or whatever. We just want to know if you get another natural 20 on your roll. You did not. That's a 5. All right. So, June, you have managed to listen very carefully at the kind of broken half-hinged door that is like a loose tooth on the front of this shack, and you put your ear up against it and you listen and you hear nothing at all.
Okay. She's going to quietly try to open this door.
It creaks forward, and you're fairly quiet in entering. It is dry. There are small rivers of mud that are still around the base of it. It is, from all that you can tell, a 10 by 10 hut. And the walls are made out of what seem to be old pallets and broken boxes and crates. You can see canvas has been stretched across the top of it, and there are some areas that are leaking small drips of water, but you are much safer and drier than you were before. And entering into the space, while you can still smell the filth out in it, it does remove some of the immediacy of that stench. What would you like to do once you enter into this hut?
Okay, once she's here, is there a window, or how many windows would there be?
It is a 10 by 10 hut. There are a number of cracks between boards that you can see through, but not a window.
Okay, then she's gonna go over to the crack, if there's one facing the front of the hut, and see if she can just look through to make sure there's no one coming through.
All right. You start to study your surroundings, and you see no one following, but in the sky you can still hear the shrieks of those griffins as they circle overhead. And further in the distance, you hear the ringing of the alarm bells.
For now, June is going to cure some of her wounds a little bit. Did you go? No? Oh, it did it on here. Okay. So I'm cured for 4 points. Better than nothing. And then
you heal yourself, June. What do? Do you make an encampment for the night, or do you keep an eye on the alleyway, waiting for a time to continue your run?
I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna keep an eye out for a little bit, and just to make my escape.
You feel the exhaustion washing across you. You have tirelessly tracked the shield down. The Zentarum was moving quickly. You fought a number of groups from the Grasping Eye. You have just managed to see that all of your wounds are healed, and you feel sleep weighing very heavily upon you, but you fight it. I would just like for you to make a single Constitution saving throw, please.
15.
You manage to steel yourself, and despite the weights of desired sleep that seem to be washing across you, you push them away and continue your vigilant watch of the alleyway beyond. Sure enough, in about an hour's time, a number of individuals make their way through. City guard. Large, imposing, shining armor and white tabards. The symbols of Waterdeep emblazoned upon them, their sigils of station. Some of them are helmed, and all of them are well armed. 2 crossbowmen walk behind a very large individual with a shaved head and drooping mustaches. Others are walking on either side with long swords drawn, poking at areas, shouting out, "In the name of the god, show yourself. We have questioning for you lot. Appear now, and you will not be harmed. There may even be coin in it if you've seen anything of value. Make yourself known." They are perhaps 100 feet away at this point.
Scheiße.
They pound on a door. Another guard throws it open.
I don't see anything. Leave me be. I don't.
They drag what looks like an old rag-covered person out and throw them into the street. They begin questioning trying to not be harmful, but clearly this individual is resisting. You hear shouts.
Through that little peek-boo, can I, see them doing this?
Yes.
Ah!
It seems that they have, that the questioning of this destitute individual that has been pulled out from their hovel, it seems to have been slowing them down. So while they're perhaps 80 feet away from you, they are deeply engaged in the questioning of this individual.
And it's just questions. They're not like beating on him.
No beating. I mean, they have had to drag the individual out because the individual was trying to slam the door on them.
Okay.
It's not kind, but it's not at the same time violent.
Okay. Well, it's nighttime, so it's probably dark. June's gonna turn off her light cantrip, and she's going to try to sneak out the door.
June, I just need you to make the stealth roll of your life.
Yep.
That is an 8. 8 is not an entire failure. It's just not great.
Yeah, not great.
It's not a wonderful roll. It's not a disastrous roll. I will now make a number of perception checks to see if you are noticed.
Come on, gods, have my back.
Maybe they do. I've rolled worse. Do you want the good news or the bad news?
Oh man, give me the good news. I want the bad news to hurt more.
The good news is that not everyone noticed you.
Oh, cool.
The bad news is a couple of them did.
Oh.
You start sneaking your way through the alleyway, and as you do, there is a shuffle of a crate that you just carefully place your hand on so that you can get as close to the wall as possible to keep yourself hidden in the darkness. And the shield is now strapped to your back, and you feel the shift of the crate far too late as a rat squawks and just kind of scurries across the alleyway in front of you. And you stumble back, and there's a very, very quiet shuffle of material as you've repositioned yourself. However, a number of individuals dart their heads up from the group of guards that are in this alleyway as the rain pours down around you.
Halt, who goes there? Name yourself.
As they're saying that, I'm gonna keep tracking.
In the name of the masked lords of Waterdeep, we demand that you halt.
Nope. She's gonna keep.
Okay, so now are you sneaking or running? You have two choices here, really.
She's sneaking. I'm assuming it's dark enough in there that they can't see me, but they know I'm there. So I'm
make another stealth check then. Yeah. If you're gonna keep sneaking, make another stealth check because we can't have you continue on with an 8.
Yep. Hello, stealth. Where are you? Please.
17 is very good. Okay, so you do manage to recover and you slip into the shadows and move yourself away from these guards. However, as you're carefully picking your way through this alley, those two guards break themselves off of the main group and start moving towards you with their swords drawn. They are not stealthing, so they're able to move considerably faster than you. You realize that at this rate, they will catch up with you very quickly.
Nope. June wants to cast something. Can't have that. Homie. She's gonna cast Spike Growth at level 2. Yup. And she's gonna cast it right before that little space she gets in, and it should be like a 20-foot radius. Yeah.
So as you move forward, you pray to Sylvanas and you touch the ground just briefly, and from it a network of jagged vine-like spikes erupt everywhere from the mud. And you continue to quickly move your way stealthily down the alleyway, and you hear a shout, "No, that!" as one of the guards has stumbled into your trap. You hear another shout, and the alarm bells continue to ring, and you hear the other guard very clearly shout out, A spell has been cast. Quickly! Get the magist of the watchful order!
Bump that. At this moment, June takes off. She doesn't care if they hear her. She runs.
Okay, so now you're running, and you're making your way through the wet streets. Your shield upon your back. Alarm bells ringing, the shriek of the griffins above you. The city watch of Waterdeep, hot in pursuit of you as you escape the scene of a crime.
It'd be like that.
Butts. It's a natural one.
Oh my god.
Oh no. Oh no.
You got a decision to give this guy booze, and we're probably gonna have to fight him at some point. I'm terrified.
Oh no.
All right. Okay, so we're doing this again.
Mm-hmm.
Let's rock and roll, Buckaroo.
Let's rock and roll, Buckaroo.